Hey everybody, this is Chris. I want to say happy Veterans Day to all you veterans out there, and happy Marine Corps birthday to all my Marines. Semper FI. Um, I was a fellow Marine. Got a few little pictures here. That was the best cigarette I think I ever smoked in my life, and I don't smoke, I dip. Anyway, I would show you some more pictures, but most of the pictures burnt in my grandma's house, so I don't have those. But off of that, uh, also this weekend was opening day of rifle season. I hope everyone enjoyed that and got to go hunting. I got to go out with my bow and I seen a few decent bucks. I had probably the smallest 10 point I've ever seen in my life come in on me, and I thought it was gonna because I didn't even have a chance to get in my climbing stand. I was on the ground and he came up out of a holler and it just kind of appeared out of nowhere like they do sometimes, and he was right on top of me and somehow did not smell me, went right past me and bedded down right next to the trail that I walk out on. So it's pretty neat. Saw one shooter buck that I've been targeting. uh, I got him about 80 yards away, not close enough for a bow, but that's why they call it hunting and not killing. Anyway, I wanted to show this buck right here. The camera doesn't really do it justice, but I'm going to show you the base of its horns. The tine length, that one right there is gnarly. And that's my hand. My hand on that one. But real massive buck. This was one that was killed years ago. It's from around here, and for an Arkansas buck, it is just gnarly as far as the mass all the way out to the ends. But I wanted to share that one with you. Also, I wanted to share a little trick. This is an Arkansas trick now. If you're no, it's not spelled backwards. If this is a sign that you see up on the neighbor's fence, you go in your old handy wallet right here and you pull out your letter G and you take the sticky off of it and you put it right there. Anyway, that was an old TK and Mike joke, and I seen this and I wanted to share that with y'all. If you ever get a chance to check out TK and Mike, they were some funny guys. Also, I wanted to throw a shout out to the guys up there at Natural State Taxidermy in Salem, Arkansas. I got a chance to go in and see how their operations ran. Rocky and Jeremy and that group up there, they really got something going on. And it seemed like there for a while that we had a lot of taxidermy shops around down in Highland, Dimpy Albright, Bear Taxidermy. I mean, it almost seemed like there was too many, but if you think about how many people come in and hunt, how many locals hunt, how many kids get their first deer, stuff like that mounted, it can get pretty tedious. I mean, they already had, this was almost 3 weeks ago that I went in their shop, so right around muzzleload season, I believe. I may be wrong on that, so don't quote me on that, but it was close to muzzleloading season, and they already had quite a few animals in there being mounted. One gentleman had brought a river otter, I believe, in while I was there. So they've got a really good operation going on there. If you got an opportunity or you got a deer or anything like that, I do believe they said they don't do ducks. So anyway, but great operation going there. Good group of guys. Check them out if you got an opportunity. That's Rocky and Jeremy at Natural State Taxidermy. It's up by Hills Auto, kind of catty corner to them across the road over there in the little steel building before Young Road. The acorn population in that other video that I showed is gonna be a real serious issue come next year if you don't get on top of them and try to either burn them in leaf piles or something like that. I really don't know the proper way to destroy billions of acorns, but I tried to do the best I could around the area that I showed in that video. I did rake them up and burn them in leaf piles, but it was really crazy to me that they had already started sprouting like they was with really not much time. There was quite a few rains, good like 3.5 inch soaking rain that lasted almost 3 days there, that I believe had a big impact on them sprouting out like they did. Also, the 85-degree weather days right after we had 20-degree weather probably had a big deal to do with that. But I wanted to bring up something that our neighbor, I met him at the feed store the other day. He had brought up his deer that he was feeding just all of a sudden kind of disappeared. And I was honest with him. I said, well, check it out. The acorn population this year is the highest I've ever seen it. The persimmons that we have on the property right across from him was throwing more persimmons than I've ever seen. Apples, pears, everything on this property that I hunt. So that's maybe a quarter mile through the woods. So I told him, I said, man, just hold tight. I said, they'll come back. And that's something that everyone needs to be patient on, is if those deer or those bucks disappear right around the beginning of October, mid-October, first off, you've got pre-rut starting. I called Jeremy Jackson on October 17th, the evening of. That morning, I watched 5 bucks in a holler, and they were all there for one reason. There was one doe that had come in full-blown heat, and they were chasing her all up and down those hills. And I actually got close to the biggest buck around in this area that morning. I was able to draw the bow back, but I didn't feel comfortable releasing the arrow, especially on a buck like that. I guess it comes with age. Back whenever I was younger, I would release that arrow at 60 yards on a buck that size. But whenever you're bow hunting, you've got to be responsible, because first off, even if you do make a good shot, it's going to run a little ways. If you shoot this far, back, forward, up, down, you're going to be tracking for a lot farther. So it kind of quartered away from me at about, I would say right at 30 yards. I didn't really range it, but I'm pretty good at judging distances. So at 30 yards at the wrong angle, and I was quite a ways up in a pretty good size white oak, I just wasn't comfortable with it. And this is a buck that last year was a 12 point. This year I thought he was a 14, but getting him that close, I got to see what he really was. He is a 14 point, but right here on his eye guards, which are about same as that, about 4 inches, 5 inches, there was little sticker points going all over. And if I seen it correctly, of course going away from me, on this side right here, he had a little bitty tiny kicker drop tine or whatever. But I've definitely had dreams about this deer, and it's my target buck this year. So hopefully before this is all said and done, I'm able to make a video with that buck on there. Now, I want to kind of get to something a little serious, especially due to the weekend. I heard some stuff on the news about PTSD, veterans, um, the numbers on suicides and stuff like that. And I did not realize that 81 people, and now if I remember, this was veterans, 81 veterans per day commit suicide. Let that number soak in for a second. That's people that went overseas to defend this country, and our medical system that is trying, and the VA has gotten a lot better uh, over the past 10 years. It's came a long ways. Used to, if you called the VA and tried to get a doctor's appointment, it'd be 6 months from now. Now it's getting a lot better, and they're getting funding from the government. So hopefully it'll pick up even better than what it's been. Um, but if you know anyone that is a veteran and has PTSD, I have PTSD. I really didn't acknowledge it for years because we were always told that PTSD was Charlie's out in the bushes and he's going to get you, or you hear a mortar go off or a loud noise, car muffler backfire, and you jump out of your skin and you're just terrified. And that's that's part of it. That's shell shocked. That's people that were grunts, front lines, seen very traumatic events while they were fighting overseas. A lot of the Vietnam guys experienced it. I grew up around family members that had PTSD really bad, and it, it can get crazy because we're taught at an early age, especially being males, that oh, don't be a wuss, don't be this, uh, don't wear your feelings on your sleeve, don't. But that's not the case. Um, if you have PTSD, do not try to fix it yourself by drinking alcohol or taking drugs or anything like that, because I'm here to tell you it is a road that you do not want to go down. It's going to lead to heartache. It's going to lead to incarceration. It's going to lead to a lot of things that you don't need in your life. And it's so much easier to just open up, swallow your pride, and just ask for help. There's so much stuff going on these days that they will find something for you. And the outdoors, I mean, is such a wonderful place to relieve the symptoms of PTSD, which are, now let me see if I can get this list correct: anxiety, depression, isolation. Um, it can affect your breathing. Stress can affect weight. Uh, Stress can kill you. And ultimately, people with PTSD are living in a stressful environment every day of their life, especially if there's anything that can trigger that PTSD from past experiences. If uh, if you're law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, people, first responders, uh, if you're witnessing traumatic events along the way, you're also, it's not just veterans, it's people that live everyday lives. If you grew up and had traumatic events happen in your life, you suffer from PTSD, and that's something that's causing your anxiety, depression, isolation, etc. Um, Go on Google and Google symptoms of PTSD or signs of PTSD, and it will amaze you on how far they've came from a list that used to be this big to a list that is like 20 something long. It's unreal. I read about it a lot this weekend because it's something that I've battled for years, and in the last 2 years I've really pushed the issue on it and gotten help, and seen what worked, seen what didn't work. It kind of sucks that I had to go through certain medications to that would make me black out and feel like a zombie some days. But I'm to a point now where I realize the good in life and what I can do to alleviate those symptoms. Also, the main one was cutting out drinking beer, whiskey, Crown Apple. Oh my gosh, that stuff. Anyway, I haven't had a drink since, oh, it's been a couple of weeks, but it was one drink and it was over at someone's house. But it's whenever you take in alcohol like I used to do that it was causing real serious issues. And I don't know, just being outside, out there with nature, squirrels, and watching two bucks fight early in the morning or in the evening, middle of the day, it don't matter. Just being out there, and that's something that I always told people. You you listen to these stories from all these people that go hunting, and you say, "Man, I wish I could have seen that." Well, you're sitting at home watching TV, so how are you going to see that? You have to get out there, and there some of my best hunting experiences are days that I didn't kill nothing. It's not about that. I I haven't even killed a deer this year. Now, have I had opportunities? Almost every time I go out, I have an opportunity to kill something. Um, the main thing is seeing that big buck. When I did, I seen it and didn't even know he was still around. So that was a eye opener for me, and it just gave me a target. Now I did have a buck similar to this one right here. He was I don't think he was as wide as this one, but he was a little bit taller. Uh, Nice round, just good looking buck. Of course, whenever he came in with his neck stretched up like that, looking, he looked like his horns were 2 foot tall. But he was a good buck. Uh, I had an opportunity to kill him at 22 yards, and I just kept thinking, that big one's behind him. He's 15 minutes behind him. He wasn't. But I'm not mad at myself for passing up that buck, and I'm not mad at myself for passing up the shot on the big one. It just, it's got to be right. I don't want to wound a deer like that has made it for 5 years, especially with the way people hunt around here. He's a very intelligent deer, and it's just got to be, it's got to be right. You know, I I hope that no one around us kills him, but if someone does, they're in for a treat because he is I would say the buck I killed in 2009 was a 178-inch whitetail. I would say he's right there close. He's probably in the 165 to 175 range, give or take. Now, with the deductions and all that stuff, I don't know how that would work out. But with him being a mainframe 14 point and then little kickers on his eye guard, I don't think there would be that many deductions, and I think he would score really, really well. So I hope that I'm able to get this buck. It would be my fourth Boone and Crockett buck if I can get him. I don't go pay to hunt places. Uh, I don't really have opportunities like I used to hunt the places uh, that I was hunting, but I do have a pretty good location, and I do have some places that I can go if this place wasn't available. But I've put a lot of work into this place. I followed a lot of whitetail habitat solutions. Jeff Sturgis, check his videos out if you haven't done it. He's a great teacher. He has re-taught me deer hunting whenever I was to the point where I thought I knew all, and I didn't. That guy is a genius when it comes to knowing what deer are thinking and how to set up for them and how to set your property up. If you've got 20 acres, if you've got 200 acres, that guy has videos on how to set your land up properly. And I've learned a lot from him and owe some of my success to him. Obviously, growing up around here hunting my whole life, the majority of it I already knew, but you're never too old to learn new tricks, and that guy is phenomenal on what he teaches. Back to the PTSD thing. I know I'm kind of going back and forth on this, but look the stats on that up. The especially this time of year, from right around mid-November to January 5th, I think it is, or January 15th, I can't remember. The suicide rate during those 3 months, November, December, January, or November, December, January, yeah, is higher in those 3 months than it is the other months of the year. Um, they're saying because of the holidays, people get more depressed if they're not able to provide for their family, do this, do that. So it's a real depressing time. The time goes back, so it gets dark earlier. So you're spending more time inside, and that ought to tell you how important the outdoors is, because whenever the time changes and people are indoors, it stresses people out to the point of suicide. Um, so if I have anything to say that I really wish people could carry on with them, is get outside and enjoy what God has created for us. It is a beautiful place. I am fortunate. I grew up in the country. It's always been a part of my life. But I'm also, don't get mad at me for saying this, please, but I'm fortunate to be from the state of Arkansas. I love this state. I think that people are starting to realize, especially since COVID happened, that Arkansas is a beautiful state. And if you're from this state and you stay in your little hometown, I advise you to get out and check out every bit of Arkansas that you can, because this state has some of the best fishing, hunting, one of the most beautiful rivers I've ever been on in my life. The Buffalo River is just, you have to go. I can't explain it. And pictures do not do it justice. There are some good pictures, but when you go around a bend and you get right up next to an overhang 80-foot, 90-foot, 200-foot cliff that goes up with oak trees and just all of it, cedars, elk bugling in the morning time, you cannot beat it. People, get out and enjoy Mother Nature. And if you have kids that are, even if they're too young to hunt properly, them being out there with you and just tagging along, you got to remember that kids look up to you, and everything that they see you do out there, they're going to soak in. So take a kid hunting. Obviously, don't go grab a kid, but take a kid hunting, take your kid hunting, and let's pass this on, people. This is something that needs to happen. Our country is going to hell in a handbasket, and it's happening very, very quick. Not just our country, but all over the world. But our country in general, I'm afraid to look up the number on how many mass shootings we're at already. And we're not even done with the year yet. And I know it's up in the 700s, somewhere around there. I mean, it's been a week, so it might be in the 800s. Who knows? But it's just gotten out of hand, and we've got to get a grip on this, people. Anyway, that's enough of me venting. I hope that everyone has a good rest of the season. Don't freak out because your deer have kind of wandered off. They've got the rut going on. They've got a whole list of stuff going on right now. They've got pressure from hunters. They've got one of the biggest acorn crops, fruit crops that we've seen in 10 years. So those deer are comfortable. They're fat. Now they're starting to get uncomfortable now with all these rifles going off, but they're they're able to walk 10 yards to another oak tree where I hunt at, and they could literally lay down and eat all day long. I mean, it's billions and billions of acorns. Uh, the main thing is water. If you own a small parcel of land and you've got any type of water that holds that water, be close, because that's something that they have to have. Especially bucks that are rutting, their intake of water goes up tremendously with all the running and the moving back and forth. So they're gonna try to stay pretty close to water, even though sometimes they'll get a little far away from it when they're chasing the doe. But they're gonna be in a place where there's water. So anyway, I hope these videos are gonna help out in the long run. I'm covering a lot of stuff on these. If you've got any comments or any videos that you want me to address, please shoot that out to me and I'll get to that. I'm going to do a video on coyote dens and how to locate and how to set up on them. I'm going to start doing some baseball videos, because that was something that I was really, really good at, and I enjoyed it every day that I played it. And I think that I can help some people out with their batting and possibly fielding and stuff like that. But don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button on your way out. Also, the comments, they're starting to pick up. I'm reading them, and that's why I'm doing a coyote hunting video tomorrow. That's why I'm doing baseball videos. That's why I'm doing cooking videos too. Biscuits and gravy, that one's coming. But I hope these videos help out, and I love all y'all. And just help your neighbor, help your friends, help these kids out, help veterans with PTSD. Just try to be a helpful person and make a lasting impression on everyone. Anyway, hope everyone has a good week this week, and I hope you bag the buck of your dreams.